It took about 2 seconds after Wednesday's riots at the Capitol for big tech to do exactly what they've always wanted and always planned. Begin purging right-wing accounts, banning conservatives from their platforms, and outright gagging any speech that they subjectively deem violent, threatening, or otherwise unacceptable. Which, of course, doesn't include left-wing violence or calls to arms. Those are perfectly acceptable. You can organize a violent Black Lives Matter riot and say white people should be targeted for assault, and that is A-OK if you're a leftist. After all, while President Trump was banned from Twitter for his video telling violent rioters to go home, this tweet from Kathy Griffin was left up for days before Twitter finally took it down. Oh, but she's not banned. Not even a little bit. No, she's still free to spew whatever vile, profane garbage she can dig out of her soulless pit, while tens of thousands of right-leaning user profiles disappeared overnight. If you've had your head buried in the sand for the last several years and haven't been paying attention, a handful of billionaires in Silicon Valley now have control over what you say and who you're allowed to say it to. The question now isn't whether they're censoring conservatives. The question is, what are we going to do about it? First, we were banned from speaking in person. Now we're being banned from speaking online. Thousands of right-wing users were purged from Twitter over the weekend, the excuse being that these accounts were posting conspiracy theories and supposedly inciting violence. Interesting that all of the supposedly violent accounts belonged on the right. Because here's the breakdown of who lost followers and who gained them. So let me get this straight. The Ayatollah of Iran and the Communist Party of China can still tweet just fine, but the President of the United States has been banned for inciting violence. Because somewhere along the line, we've allowed a few tech companies that started out in college dorm rooms to form unrestricted, absolute monopolies on the publishing and distribution of information in this country and around the world. And the argument was always that, well, if you don't like one app, you can always just go find another. So Parler came along. After Trump was banned last week and Twitter began single-handedly deleting the accounts of thousands of people they don't like, thousands flocked to a similar app that's promised to be an open platform for free speech. That is, until Apple and Google decided to strip them from their app store so no one could download it to their phones. After that, Amazon flat out banned the entire platform from their servers, meaning that now even the website itself doesn't work. And of course, true to form, predictable leftists are celebrating this mass purge of thousands of voices because while they might just be intelligent enough to recognize a swastika, they've never actually read what Nazi Germany did at the beginning of their attempted global takeover. Hint, it started with mass censorship, with book burning, and with widespread bans against what you could say and who you could say it to, because this is what actual fascists do, you historically ignorant fools. And their argument, ironically, is that Twitter and Facebook are private companies and can therefore do whatever they want, which is not only factually untrue, they're publicly traded companies, they're not private. But leftists gave up the right to make that argument years ago anyway when they demanded a baker make a cake for a gay wedding or they would destroy him in a courtroom. And when they demanded that actual private companies like Hobby Lobby violate their own religious beliefs and provide abortion-inducing drugs for their employees, oh no, y'all forfeited all this ground voluntarily. So bake the cake, bigot. It's also erroneous because even as leftists sneer that conservatives are now complaining about the very free market that we love so much, they apparently don't understand what the free market is. A free market is only free when it fosters and allows for competition. That's why we have antitrust laws. You're not allowed to engage in unethical and discriminatory practices that intentionally keep out competition. So here's exactly what should happen to these tech giants who've apparently decided that they run the world and we all just have the privilege of living in it. It's actually real simple. They should be treated exactly like the competition-killing monopolies that they've become, and they should be smashed to pieces. It's one thing to say Twitter has become huge and successful because it's been a good platform. It's quite another to say Twitter is the only game in town because it's working in concert with tech companies like Amazon and Apple to shut down their competition and gag anyone they don't agree with. The moment big tech decided Parler couldn't play in their sandbox is the day they declared that they will intentionally kill any competition that gives a voice to people they don't like. They want unilateral control over the dissemination of information in this country. They want to tell you what to believe, censor the things they don't want you to know, and gag you if you ever dare to disagree. Big tech has officially become a threat to democracy. And that is a threat to all of us. And that's your Reality Check America. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, like us on Facebook and Twitter, while you can, and stay sane out there.